realized it now that it's June rather than every other month in the year of all committees, but
And for
for
me,
training.
so that everyone, so I'm coming off the election, I'm in the middle of licensing, and I also have board review and this, in the same like 5-week time frame. So it sounds terrible, but I really have to be very like strategic about it, otherwise one missing piece and
Like she
it all
forgot a
falls.
letter last year, you know, to some of the members that were expiring, and because it was stretched out, this process, and now all of a sudden, because, you know, we didn't have a timeline, we were blasted at, you know.
Except we used to be doing it all through the year, we used to
That's
be
all you
interviewing
did.
people and all
Yeah,
through the year.
but that's all you did, and that's what we were trying to get away from.
Well,
is
I
that-
just don't, I mean, whatever, you know, we'll go as fast as we can go. I mean, part of it is the committee chairs, how long it takes them to talk to people and get back to us. I mean, the
We just have to
only
give a
JP&L meeting, I mean,
Just give
there's
it a
one
deadline.
JP&L meeting that we can do, and then it's on other people on the committee chairs, so, I mean, I just don't,
I'm good with that as long as it's like a hard deadline, like you have 1 week, and if you don't submit anything to us, we're gonna move forward.
Yeah.
Only because we're trying, we've been working on this, trying to streamline it for 2 years, because it is very time consuming, and she could be doing much more, and so could all of us. That's why we took away the interview. I
But
mean,
we
it's
took, yeah, I mean, it's like 1/10 of the time we used to spend on it.
Good.
So I mean,
We put in a
don't, I mean,
training.
we're past our time, but
Yeah.
I don't,
You know,
I'm not sure that I'm gonna put like feel a tremendous amount of pressure that this,
You
we'll do
won't,
the
but we
best
will.
we can.
all right.
Okay,
so what's the
So-
vote to?
So-
so do we, what do we?
Do you want me-
Yeah, I think if
Do you want me to come back with a flow chart again, or do you
Yes.
want?
Or I would
I
feel
think this is
good.
helpful as one document.
Yeah, I mean, and I
This
feel like
is-
if we
this
can
is an over-
make this, into a flow chart,
You gotta bring it back.
and then
That would be
bring it
great.
back to
Right.
JPL.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, or full board, but.
Yeah, and do.
I mean,
if-
I just feel like we're spending, I mean, you wanna streamline it, this is like the 10th time we've talked about this. We had
Right.
third quarter budget review and spent 10 minutes on it, and now it's gone. Like, I feel as a trustee, I'd rather be devoting my time to keeping oversight on the village budget than
You want us just to
oversight
do
on
it,
this.
we don't have to bring it back.
Well, that's what I was
We
getting
can
at,
just
like,
handle it
could
between
we-
us.
I think it's ready.
I
Yeah,
think,
just
I think it's,
just do
it.
I think we don't need
Does
to
it have
talk
to go
about
to
the
full
JPL
board?
again.
Does it even have to go to full board? I mean,
It's totally, if you guys don't want it to, I think it's just more from a committee standpoint, this
You know,
is how.
I feel good, this is
Yeah.
definitely
That's how it
helpful
works.
visual, I
Okay.
feel good about it.
I
so.
think it needs to go to full board, because obviously the three of you feel good about it, but I want to review this. And,
Could be a
you know, this is the
report.
appointment process in the hands of the village president. Now, what we delegate to the village board for appointments is fine, but I would like to see, there was a couple of edits today, on the flow chart, and I need to speak with Jessica and Sarah to make sure, even though we're saying yes now, that it works in the timeline with the trainings and so either you can bring it back to full board, or we can do it, we can update it on the side, it's up to you guys.
Or, I mean, it could be, a report to
Report.
full board and.
We can do an update in the, under village president.
Under
Yeah.
village president.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we can do
Okay,
that.
that'd be great.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll do
with,
that
with the
going forward.
board committee and commission training, is that just for new board members?
Oh,
We do this, that's a waste of time, why do we do that every year?
Why? Because they don't even know how,
Every
look at
single
Sharvita,
year.
HRC, she doesn't even know how to make a motion. She thinks she should make the motion instead of her, she's the chair.
People don't need training every single year on things.
Well, it's
That's a
just
waste,
like if
that's a
you're
waste of everybody's
reappointed.
time.
so it
don't
wouldn't
have
be,
to-
like, if you
don't
weren't
have to
up,
come.
you know, you don't come every year, so if you would
Yeah.
only come when your term
Yeah, that's
cycle
fine.
is up,
Every 4 years, right? Or every
3 years,
Yeah.
or if you're newly
5.
appointed.
Okay,
All right,
should we meet adjourn?
I will.
yeah.
So what are we, oh.
We're adjourning
Yeah.
and they
What
go
is
to
this,
public
this is
work.
coming back to
It's
JP
gonna
and
go, it's gonna go to full board as
Yeah.
a report, right, and I'm gonna
Okay.
head over to the school board.
All right, we got the Public Works Committee, and the first item is Albert Park new kayak launch. RFP is back to us, we had some suggestions last meeting, and
Turns out I'm on that committee, that's,
Leanne has tweaked the RFP, added some more language, you wanna talk about it a little bit?
Sure, from my notes, there's some concerns, particularly about, adequately framing the scope of the project and some discussion about whether the actual budget numbers should be included in the RFP. So I put it in here, easily struck if you decide that isn't, the will of everyone. And then I adjusted the project scope, so, renamed task 1 conceptual design. And typically in, construction, document development, 30% design is conceptual design, 60% is preliminary, and then you consider to be final at 90. So, I broke the scope into those tasks. So task 1 would be conceptual. I added the developing 2 to 3 options for review, and I put an approval. Perhaps
Okay.
it should say for review and selection.
Yeah,
Yeah,
By village board, okay, selection, I'll make that change. And then, noting that they're expected to attend the village board meeting for
what,
the
will
presentation.
they have like any rough costs at this point?
Then we can ask them to develop costs, but they will be
Yeah.
just like,
Well, right, I mean,
it'll be like
I mean, we need,
100, oh, yeah,
we need to know, I mean, if one is twice the cost of the other,
Yeah.
we need to have some idea of the cost to choose
Yeah.
one.
yeah, just some.
And then just kind of, continues out with task 3 being the final design and bidding, and then task 4 being construction consultation, which really is just limited to if we have any questions during construction, that they would be available to answer them. I think, Rebecca may have some thoughts on this. I suppose it's very possible that, we get through task 1 and, that's kind of the decision point, right? Do you
Yeah.
continue, or do you say, not now? I'm not exactly sure how we would, I suppose we could put some language in here that says that the initial contract award is for the project scope through task 1. And then if approved following task 1,
Mhm.
then we would award the remainder of the contract for the remaining tasks.
Yeah.
I guess I'd have to consult with Nathan a little bit about the verbiage on that, if that is how you wanted to proceed.
Well, I mean, it might be worth having the design even if we don't fund it.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
So,
Okay.
yeah, we
Um,
might. So did you have a conversation with our village engineer at all on some, I'm just trying to think of how the engineering firms are gonna approach this. They're gonna see the 40,000 and they're gonna
And
realize,
some of them will
just say, no, we can't.
will not respond, and some of them might.
Yeah.
So the 48,000 is accurate or inaccurate depending on how you approach it, right?
Mhm.
The budget, the TID 3 budget includes, I believe it's 50,000 with
Right.
10,000 earmarked for a different project. So that leaves 40,000 for this.
Mhm.
Typically when we, on projects, relay budget information, we say, 40,000 inclusive of engineering or excluding engineering. We're not making any such statement here. So if the $40,000 needs to include engineering,
Says it includes engineering.
to fund engineering
To
construction.
fund engineering.
They're gonna look at that probably and go, I can grade you a gravel path to the river and that would be
That's
about
what, I mean,
right?
that's, if this is
Um,
kinda what we're,
The thing, you know, with this change in scope,
yeah,
I would say it's highly unlikely, if not impossible, that you can build this in 2020. Simply because they're gonna put time into, you know, the conceptual designs, and then we'll have to break and get it board scheduled. The board will look at it and select one, then they can go to
Right.
get it to
Oh.
preliminary design, and then they apply for the permits. They can't, I don't know that they can apply for permits on a
Yeah.
conceptual design.
No.
So, you know, just, we can control our timetable, but we
Right.
cannot control
Right.
the permit approval process.
Right.
And I just don't, I think it's highly unlikely this will get built next year.
yeah.
Where do they have to get permits from?
DNR.
Is that in here? I didn't see anything in here about permits.
Yes.
What,
It's task 2A.
oh, okay. So if we, when you say a boat launch, I mean, I'm gonna ask some really ignorant questions here, cause I'm not really a boating person, okay? I mean, I know, I've been on boats where they have like you have a motorboat or something on a rig on
Yeah.
wheels, and there's like a ramp going into the water, and you lower the whole thing into the water and get the boat off, and then
Yeah.
drive the ramp.
This would not be like, I mean,
No.
essentially the pictures that I have seen, are,
This is the,
it really
it's
is,
just a ramp.
it's really
This is
just-
down
Just a ramp,
in the
like it's
valley,
just
this is
a
down in the Menominee Valley. It's not-
yeah,
it's
I mean,
not
we're
like
not envisioning
blacktop.
any sort of a,
No.
you know, like a
some kind of-
dock type structure or anything, no,
mainly
it's just
get your-
a very gentle access point into the water. You're gonna get your feet wet, you cannot launch a kayak or a
It's not,
canoe.
so it's
Right.
not concrete or
No.
anything, it's
Like-
just like a path that goes into the
Down, there may be
river.
some stones there,
You
so
know-
you can, there's some stability, it's not
Yeah.
mud and,
Oh, okay.
yeah, it's,
And that's gonna cost more than $40,000.
You know, it's funny, 'cause either way, if you have a canoe launch there or not, you have to get your feet wet to get in the boat.
yeah, you're gonna,
Right? So,
you're gonna get wet.
so really, the canoe launch is really a way to access the river with your boat.
Yeah,
Or with your
without tearing up and get down the slope and get in
Yeah.
your boat without falling over into the river.
Oh, I see, so it's just like an easy gradual way.
Yeah,
to
there's
get
some
down.
stability to get your gear in the boat
Yeah.
and get in
And
the
it-
boat before you tip over.
And it also will be designed and constructed, hopefully, right, such that you can use the launch in varying river levels.
Oh,
I mean, because it's not, you know,
It's true.
it's quite variable, so you have to,
Mm.
you're gonna have to design it and perhaps grade and excavate to make sure that it has that function.
Mm.
but so it's not gonna be blacktop or,
It could be,
to a certain point, obviously you can't go underwater, but
right,
Could
because
have
if
it.
the river comes up, you have block.
you don't want, yeah, that underwater.
Right.
But, you know, that would be one of, I would think that becomes kind of that discussion of, you know, conceptual design options.
Yeah.
How there do you want it, right? Do you,
as someone who's canoed before,
Yeah.
and I don't have all the fancy wheels and all that for my canoe, like I literally drag it
Yeah.
from my car. So for me, I think a grass slope would be
preferable?
perfect.
Yeah.
You're
For me.
dragging.
Right.
Right, you
Yeah.
know, but, you know, others have other
Yeah.
needs or whatever, but.
Well, you know, and one of the reasons when we looked at that initial design by Merrick, everybody kind of went, because that base of the circle is, you know, that it's used pretty heavily by Hubbard Park for wedding ceremonies. You know, that you got a lot of seating there for concerts.
Mhm.
I don't know that we want to put like a superhighway into the river right there. It just, and that's what that initial design looked like.
Yeah,
We
it
just
was,
went,
it was
no,
way, they,
this-
they were.
So I think the less hard surface the least amount of hard surface you can do while still making it functional and usable and attractive to users. But it has to fit the park, and it's not that kind of a park,
Yeah.
right? So,
So,
Wasn't part of that 40 grand or whatever, the handrail?
yes,
probably
that
the
was the
10.
other 10.
Oh, that
that's
was
the
the
other
other
10,
10.
yeah.
Yeah.
Does it have to be because there's, the path going to the reconstruct, I mean, does it have to even be in that bottom part? I mean, you have this other river access, I mean, could it be like north a little bit?
I don't think the grades there lend themselves to putting a launch in as well as they do either directly off the circle or just to the south of the circle. I think you have some natural bank there that makes
Yes.
the construction easier and much less expensive.
Right.
Well, I mean, as a note, that swale
Yeah.
that we built, I mean,
We
we paid
built
for
for
that.
this
Oh, this is
We paid for that.
so, right, yeah.
It's
what-
for this.
It was
Yeah, I know it was
for
for that, I never
Yeah.
quite.
So my ideal world, if that's already been
Right.
purchased and
Build it
done,
in.
I would, I would
Use
like
it.
to use it
Yep.
as opposed to, well, let's just go off over here.
Yeah, I was thinking.
You know,
let's
because
go right in there.
Even though that might have been the better choice from the get-go,
Now we have this.
But that's sunk costs, Joel, you can't go chasing after
Well,
sunk
it's-
costs are done.
They still took the soil out of it, that's why. They-
yeah, but it just looks funny because now there's a
Yeah, there's
weird
this
swale there.
trail, it's like, why, all the way back to the park
Yeah.
drive, but you could just,
We'll call it a stormwater spill.
yeah, it could be, yeah, a trough and then, yeah, I mean, yeah, simple path to some
Yeah.
more stable.
But I mean, perhaps that's we have two options, right? We
Right.
use that
Yeah.
and we maybe look, one way